because I'm having a hard time in my rehearsal with people blocking each other. And I have two characters that are supposed to be like confrontational, they're in an argument. So I want to play around with different areas to have them in an argument, but also I need my other two characters to still be kind of interesting, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
How big are these other characters that aren't arguing?
I mean, they're gods. It's Pluto and Dionysus. So like they're still powerful.
Okay. Do they have lines?
Yeah, Pluto has lines towards the end, and we've been working with like the panoramic, the dramatization stuff with him, and it's been working fairly well. But my problem is that my two arguing characters get locked in the same spot. They always get locked right in the middle, splitting center, and it's just not interesting to me. So, especially since like this is an 8-minute scene of people just arguing and different things, so I'm like, it doesn't need to stay here. So, but when the start of the scene is, Dionysus is in the, or not Dionysus, let me just call out. Okay, Dionysus, Pluto, Euripides, Aeschylus. Pluto is in the middle, and yeah, sit. And then I've had Dionysus just kind of standing behind his chair, so like right here. And then basically what happens, I'm just going to show you what is happening in a rehearsal right now. Aeschylus and Euripides. Y'all two will just stand literally split. But this is what's happening right now in my rehearsal.
Cool, man.
And I just don't like it. So I just want to play with like pictures and different things that I can go back to them with.
What if you move Pluto from the middle to the far left chair? Do you not like the fact that they're in the center arguing, or
Yeah.
do you feel too crowded over there? Because
I don't like the fact that they're in the center arguing.
okay,
I feel like there's more to play with than that. Pluto's kind of, I mean, this is his place that we're set in, so I kind of feel like he would be in the center chair, and he moves at some point.
okay.
But they start, and if he is sitting down, they normally end up blocking him or getting so close together that nobody can separate them.
What if you move Pluto upstage center? And that gives us the whole room, plus that gives him more of like the king status, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it takes him out of action a little bit, but for all intents and purposes.
Well, I mean, at certain points, he will lose. Sorry, guys, I know this is kind of like scattered.
Dude, it's all good. 15 minutes of fame.
And the reason I put third chair here is more so nobody's going to be sitting in one of the chairs. Dionysus sits in this chair right here at some point or whenever he feels like it, really. But
What are they like thrones, like, or what? Because you could angle the two chairs, because like they're in a line right now, and it kind of makes me feel like there should be people sitting in there, like king, queen, and like prince or something. If you angle kind of the chair just a little bit towards Pluto, that could even like accentuate even more like this is his house sort of thing. Not even that much, just like a little bit. Yeah, kind of like,
Move forward this way a little.
and then moving downstage.
Yeah, downstage.
Would that trap them though?
And then a semicircle.
I'm
So
just asking.
what is your actual setting? Like what?
we're in the underworld.
But like, are we in a room in the underworld? Are we
Um,
outside? Are we?
Yeah, we're basically in a room in the underworld. They're fixing, basically what Euripides and Aeschylus are arguing about is a seat by Pluto during feasts and dinners.
So
So they
So
want
that's
that.
why the third chair is here. Nobody
Yeah.
will be sitting in it throughout the scene, but it's just there as like kind of a statement piece.
So that like a
Are we arguing over that specific?
You are
chair,
arguing
basically?
over this specific chair.
Okay, so there may be a table here, or
I didn't have a table here because they're not
Hey,
at the
guys.
actual dinner table arguing. I've gone back and forth on whether it's like an outside setting versus an inside setting.
comedy, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh.
Like,
that
well,
is-
like
Very much so,
like
very
very
slapstick.
comedy. Like it would not be wrong for them to physically pick up the chair and fight over it, because that gives a really good reason to move, and it also gives you a way to
Yeah.
shift your picture.
Yeah, the chair can move to different places, and we can be arguing different places about it.
Yeah, I like it.
Pick it up and take it over there.
Because especially like when someone's winning the argument, like they have certain points, they're going over certain things, and if one of them just, while the other one's talking, just picks up the chair and moves it, it wouldn't be out of character for them.
And this is like a slapstick comedy. I mean, you don't, like, these guys, like, not like to the extent of like sprinting around the stage, but they could be moving like in circles and it still look okay if you like play it right. Like, you don't have to be as still.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking this was like a drama and I was like, oh, I don't know how to like, but yeah, like you could like, no one could like take the chair and like run with it and like, you know, it's kind of like back and forth, not like too
Yeah.
crazy, but you have a lot of movement in that as well. You can go behind Pluto, behind Dionysus and all that.
8 minutes.
Awesome, okay.
As a general rule in comedy, I think, especially when you have arguments like this, I think it makes things easier when I think of it this way. If the person with power starts the movement, so I'm just gonna like that again really quick. So if all of a sudden Nolan gets the power and you want him to move and get out of the spot, you can do something like this. Then he's gonna back up, and then you can come back. As the power shifts. You can do more than just back and forth, but that's just the example that I'm giving you. And then you can play with levels too.
Yeah, and that's what I want to go for. I don't like really doing those things a lot.
If
Yes.
there's-
Well, and if the argument is about Pluto, I mean, or about friendship or admiration or whatever about him, I mean, they can
Just
use
about
him.
chair.
I mean, they can, because I feel like if the argument is about wanting to be next to him at meals and at important events or whatever, then I feel like they should try to be next to him in this argument also. I mean, yeah, it's just something to play with. Even if you did want to use the chair, or if you didn't, whatever.
Even for like exercise.
Right, even having them try to physically be next to him for the sake of argument. And I mean, you can also, in an argument, people walk away, people, try to prove points. And so I feel like just, as far as with your actors, you can just be like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, find a place to move. And then if they don't, then start giving more specific things. But if they're just stuck, then, I don't know. I feel like giving them reasons to move
Yeah.
is helpful.
It's almost like they're trying to persuade, like, I don't know like how comedic this is, but if you had your actors do like an exercise, like, you want to try to like almost woo him to like, or so he wants to be sitting by him, so like, it's like what Peyton was saying, like, get him closer and like, kind of like, oh, he likes me better, then that can like play well, and that won't necessarily be as crowded because there's still a lot of movement, but if like Pluto just kind of stood put and was just like, okay, I think that would be really funny like the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying.
I'm just kind of like Abigail at this point. I don't want it all to be disorderly here, so.
I think also though, and I think like them trying to get closer to Pluto is a really good way to engage Pluto, especially because you said he doesn't have a lot of lines until the end. But then Dionysus, he's just kind of standing there watching everything, and that makes him more into me. And I don't think, it doesn't need to be chaotic, like he doesn't
Yeah.
have to be moving the whole time too, especially if they're gonna be like running around with a chair. But I feel like he needs to have a form of, like, what is he doing in this scene?
Like, he's basically, whoever wins this argument gets to go back up to the world of the living and help save Athens from ruins. And the other one is stuck down here. They're originally fighting over a chair, but basically it's another chance to go back to the living, and it basically boils down to who is the better playwright, and they both think that they're the better playwright.
But so then
But Dionysus has a good role in it. He came down here for Euripides specifically, and then it turned into this.
Okay.
So, but Dionysus does like kind of favor Euripides, so some of his lines when he's like breaking up fights, he'll like turn to him and be like, hey, you need to get your crap together. So he does kind of move a little bit more.
Okay.
As far as people getting stuck places, back to what Peyton was saying, everyone has motivation, like whoever is judging, they could be walking around, nod like, you know, if we're in an argument, he lays me with a good point. You know, I gotta get some space. I can't believe this guy just said that. You know, or in my own place over here, like, you know, they can just put it there.
Lots of good.
Do y'all have any suggestions on like any exercises that you know that would help engage in that I can play around with
It's not
in my
really an
scenes?
exercise, but if you just kind of tell your actors, if it's like a slapstick comedy, to just, for one run, really over-exaggerate every motivation you have, like, make it crazy, and so it looks dumb when you do it, but then it gets into that level of like, I can go a little bit crazier and have that really intense motivation, like the audience can clearly see my motivation because I'm doing huge movements and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they can tone it down a little bit afterwards.
One more thing. I feel like the principle is argument here. You know, so like every point that they make, I feel like that should land with everybody. Oh, I agree with that. Oh, no, he's lying. I don't believe that. You know what I mean? Like, you could break up every little part of the arguments and have everyone engaged in that. Make it kind of like a Jerry Springer kind of thing. You know, but dial down, of course. That's kind of how I see it.
You asked a question about exercises. I think the yes/no exercise that we did in here would be really helpful for that because that is just entirely an argument. And like when I was a little before, we used to do the same thing, but someone was in a chair and the other person wanted that chair, which seems like what your scene is. And so one person has to get that other person out of the chair and off stage or whatever. I mean, stuff like that because that really engages physicalization.
I also think you could tell them you have to move on, before, or after every line.
Yeah.
And just overdo it, and that way they're being forced to move, and so since you make them, you know, move on, before, or after every line, they discover choices, and you discover choices from them, so of course you won't keep them moving at every line, because that is ridiculous. Maybe you will, I don't know. But, you know, but that just kind of forces them to have ideas and literally forces them to move.
2 minutes.
I think also another exercise idea is someone has to be on the floor, someone has to be like sitting, and someone has to be standing, kind of thing. Doing that, and so like every time someone shifts, everyone else has to shift. That can be a good exercise, and you can even play with it. You can do it that way. You can also do change it so it's different parts of the stage. Someone always has to be down center. Someone always has to be in Pluto's chair, even if it's not Pluto. You play with different parts of the stage too, to get them in there.
We did this exercise when we did it in Annie's directing workshop. It was really cool. We did several things, but one of the things we did was we walked around, and it was just 3 of us with 3 people surrounding our circle, and we were just walking around the space, but we had to, in some way, react to every other person, basically at all times. So you had to pay attention to what was going on in your surroundings if someone got too close. And at first it felt really anxious and tense, because everybody was just trying to react to people, so there was lots of and then they'd be trying to react to everybody. And then eventually, once we added physical connection to it and everything, everyone got much more, into naturalistic type movements and stuff. Yeah, it just kind of developed that way.
Yeah, and I think that instead of doing actual stage pictures, just work on these exercises to where they're interacting more with each other, and just have a whole rehearsal based on the exercises. That way they get comfortable with each other and can get that comedic thing
Yeah, and
instead
if
of
you
staging stuff.
If you see a stage picture you like, make a note of it, and you want that to happen at some point, you can almost map it out.
You got 15 seconds.